Hi everybody, welcome to a live edition of the Transport Evolved show. I guess this could be a Monday musing, a Monday maudling, just Nikki standing in front of a camera and talking to you guys for as long as we feel we have a good show. The reason for today's show is that it is my 42nd birthday and I am a notorious workaholic. Kate Walton-Elliott has been on me to take time off. Winter has been on me to take time off. Erin has been on me to take time off. And my wonderful wife, who is also a Kate, has been on me to take time off. And I suck at taking time off, frankly. So today is me going, I'm going to do a live stream to celebrate my birthday with you guys because you guys make my life fun. Sometimes you make my life difficult, but sometimes you make my life fun. And I want to celebrate my 42nd with you. It's quite a big deal for me because I don't normally celebrate my birthday. I hate celebrating my birthday. But this year has been the first year where I've actually felt that I've wanted to celebrate my birthday. So I have a cup of tea here. I also have some nice bubbly sparkling grape juice. It is not champagne, it is not wine, it's non-alcoholic grape juice because it is only 11 o'clock in the morning here. Despite it being my birthday, I'm not drinking before noon. Thank you for all of the wonderful birthday wishes. Will got in before we even started the live stream. Thank you, Will. You are really wonderful and really kind, and I am touched by your wonderfulness. I know that we've been going through some big changes here at the show, at the channel recently, and some of you have commented, and it's actually made me really happy that you've noticed that I've been a little bit more bubbly and a little bit more happy in the last couple of weeks since I haven't been doing a video every single freaking day, and that has made things a whole lot better for everybody on the team. I think some of the team are struggling a little bit. Poor Winter, I think especially is going, what am I supposed to be doing? Because we went from doing a video a day to like a video every other day. We're now making 5 videos a week instead of 15 or 16, which is what we did previously. And so it's taking a bit of an adjustment, but we've got some great projects ahead, and today's video is also going to be a little bit of a fundraiser because we have a road trip to Southern California planned in just over a week's time. We are super excited. We're going to be putting 2 very cool cars against one another on a road trip because a lot of you have been saying, well, you know, why don't you do more challenges? Why don't you do more stuff like this? So the whole team, all 4 of us, are going to be doing a road trip down to Southern California. We've got an interview lined up there with one company. We're in the process of setting up another one, and we are going to be doing something in the Bay Area as well, fingers crossed. So like we're doing 3 or 4 videos in one go, preparing for the holiday season because when we come back, it will almost be Thanksgiving. And so we're raising a little bit of funds for that because as I realized, Airbnb prices have gone up a lot. Can you imagine? Because of COVID. So Airbnb, it used to be you'd pay a couple of $100 for a place for the night for multiple people. Now it's still a couple of $100, but then they're putting 2 or 3 times that cost on top in terms of cleaning fees, which I never realized was a thing, but I guess that makes sense. You know, you want to have your Airbnb clean so that people don't, so that, you know, nobody gets COVID or anything like that. But it does also mean that the cost of doing trips like this has gone up. And of course, you've got CES coming in January. I know some people have questioned whether we should go to CES, and I'd love to know your thoughts. We try and go to CES every year. This year, there's going to be some electric car reveals. We're going to see the Chevrolet Silverado, and there's going to be another electric truck there as well. There's going to be some other electric vehicles being at the event that will be revealed. And this is the first time, this coming CES will be the first time that CES has a brand new automotive hall. So for those who don't know, CES is a massive show. I mean, it's one of the biggest global shows of electronics and technology. And in the last sort of 5 or 6 years, we've seen electric vehicles become integral to that show. When I started going all those years ago, EVs were there, but it was very often startups. Now major OEMs are going as well. Tesla is unfortunately absent from those events, although there are very often lots of Teslas there. But you could also argue that Tesla doesn't need to go to CES, right? Because Tesla is Tesla. But we will be going again this year. And so we're hoping to raise some funds for that. And we're also hoping to raise funds today for this guy behind me. I don't mean Queenie. I mean the desk. So for those who don't know, let me move to one side. This used to be my partner, Kate's desk. So my wife used to have a desk here because we had a teenager at home, and my teenager had a bedroom because teenagers need bedrooms. Who'd have thunk that? But my teenager moved out this year. My youngest moved out this year. And so we've now got 2 offices in a 4-bedroom house, which is a bit crazy. So Transport Evolved has the biggest bedroom, which is the studio where we film the show and we have all the sets. This is our editing room. And then next door to that, my wife now has an office for her day job. And so we had a spare desk. And we've been able to build this up completely free. And I'm just so excited about this. I'm going to just do some comments here because you're all saying happy birthday. There are so many happy birthdays. I am so pleased and so touched that you're all wishing me a happy birthday. Hello, Callum. I hope that the sheep are well. Callum has a wonderful farm up in Scotland and has sheep and all kinds of wonderful. And Callum is one of the few people who actually met Pepper, our dear border collie who passed away earlier this year. Callum and his wife had a lovely, lovely farm up and spent some time there with them. And they have electric cars and they have electric everything. They have wind turbines. Brilliant. Brilliant to see. Thank you, William. I'm just randomly picking people. So if I don't pick you, it's not me ignoring you. Thank you very much. Boo. That's an awesome name. And it looks like almost like a double helix there. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Tez. You're in Australia. I guess it is kind of late in the day for you. Thank you, Pertleson. Thank you very much. Live long and prosper. Absolutely. If you can do that without really thinking about it, then you are, in fact, a big Vulcan fan, big Star Trek fan. Callum says he's going to COP 26 on Thursday. Callum, I would love to know how that turns out. It's one of the things I really want to talk about is COP and the frustrations that we feel and some real tough things that we have to do as journalists, but also as activists. Transport Evolved sits in a very weird place because we're journalists, but we also have a vested interest in making this thing happen, in making the transition to cleaner, greener, safer, and smarter fleets happen. Sometimes it can be really difficult sitting in the middle of that. Han says, don't worry, I stopped having birthdays almost 8 years ago. Well, I didn't celebrate birthdays for years. And I feel like now I can talk about it. If you want me to talk about it, so tell me to shut up if I start talking about it and it's too long. I feel that, thank you, Callum. You're very wonderful. And also thank you to Anonymous Freak. Pepper was nice. You both met Pepper. Yeah. And thank you, Robert. Thank you very much. So for those who don't know, I lost my father when I was 21. My dad died of a brain tumor, the type of brain tumor that basically spread everywhere. And it was really quick. He collapsed in July. I was a musician at the time. I was still at school, music college, and I'd gone back home to perform with a trio that I used to be part of. And we'd got a concert schedule lined up. We were going to be going around all these little villages and performing. And we were doing some workshops. In fact, we were doing a workshop in the school that my first primary school. Unfortunately, my dad had been having some strange and uncharacteristic health issues, and he collapsed. He'd been at the farm one day, and part of milking, when you milk cows, is that you have to clean out the milking equipment after you've milked, and it uses quite nasty chemicals, quite corrosive chemicals, obviously, to make sure that everything is sanitized. And he was there and he couldn't remember which chemical went in which order. And shortly after that, he collapsed and he was diagnosed with a brain tumor. He died in the latter half of October, 20 years ago this year. And we buried him on Halloween, so 31st of December, 2001. And ever since then, I've not really wanted to celebrate my birthday, because my birthday had always had that bittersweet thing to it. So for the last 20 years, I've been very reluctant to celebrate my birthday, because the day I turned 22 was the day after I'd buried my father. And I was going through a really tough time emotionally in my personal life. And so I decided that I wasn't going to celebrate my birthday. And then sort of ended up adopting kids, and kind of the kids were my center of my life. And now I'm in my 40s and my kids are grown up, and I feel like I can finally celebrate. So that's why I'm kind of going, yay, it's my birthday today. So that is where we're at. Thank you very much, Anonymous Freak. Callum says sheep are doing well and turbines are behaving now, generating all those electrons. It's a good way of doing it. So as I was saying, this is our new studio. Our new studio is just me now. And someone was asking if Miss Dearheart has her own desk. She does not have her own desk, and neither does Chimichanga, who I don't think anyone's met. This is Chimichanga the fox, who is... He needs a brush. This is Chimichanga the fox, who is one of my other costumes. He's a really nice guy, actually. He's kind of like the parent that you want everybody to be. He tells me about dad jokes. He's always there for the kids. And he does a lot of charity work. He's my main charity work guy. But yeah, so they don't have a shelf, but they are going to have a thing up top. And so they'll have their own little stand in the corner, which will probably be an interesting talking point whenever I'm doing something more business oriented. But this desk is going to be for the guy that we want to hire, the video editor that we have been raising funds for the last couple of months. Now, he is somebody who's worked with the channel before. He's a videographer. He's also a really good video editor. He's working right now in a completely different industry, and we want to help him transition to doing the thing that he really loves, because the day job that he's got, he's not really enjoying as much. And we want to be able to pay him a good salary. So that is why we're doing it. Thank you very much, Robert. You are so kind. I appreciate the donation, and I know the rest of the team will too. So we have managed to salvage this desk. So this was my wife's old desk, and she had a sitting desk, and it's just basically an IKEA desk. I had an identical one that went the other way. We bought those secondhand when we bought our house. I think they were like $100 or something. And those are our desks when we had to share an office. But my wife's company had an office in downtown Portland, and because of COVID and because of changes at the company, the company's bigger than it used to be. They need a new office space, and it's not ready yet. So they had to get rid of all of the furniture from the old office. And among all of that furniture, we managed to pick up 2 standing desks and 2 new computer monitors and a new iMac, which is hiding off the screen here. The iMac is not going to be powerful enough as an edit machine unless I can upgrade it, which is one of the challenges I want to execute on. But everything else on that desk is pretty much repurposed and used. We've set up an edit station for a really small amount of money. We're going to use my old laptop which has still got enough power to be able to still edit videos at a push if we connect it to an external GPU, and we happen to have one of those lying around. And so we've got this new desktop or new laptop based workstation set up, and that's where he's going to be working initially. He's going to be doing video editing and stuff. We just need to finish raising the funds. We need to raise, if everybody who watched Transport Evolved gave $1, we would be able to employ him through. So that is one of the things that we're working on. I know it was a while ago, but I'm sorry about your dad. I just got good news from my oncologist about my pontine glioma a few days ago after surgery this year and losing my dad 2 months ago. Stephen, I am so touched that you took time to write that, and I am so glad that you are okay and able to continue contributing and being part of life, because you've got a lot to give. So thank you. Thank you very much. Chimichanga's color scheme is also a bit Deadpool-esque. Yeah, and so is his eyes. He's a strange character to play. He has ear piercings. You probably can't see it. He needs a brush. He has ear piercings and he has dark eyes, and you'd think that would make him a little bit scary, but he's actually really fun, and he's got a dad bod. So he's what we call a partial, so he doesn't have a full body suit. He just has the head and the hand paws and the tail and the feet. And so when I'm doing stuff like charity stuff, before COVID, we did a school charity run where the kids were running around to raise money, and Chimmy dressed up as one of the coaches, and he had his tracksuit bottoms and top on, and I modified the tracksuit for a tail, and he had great fun. I had great fun. I always talk about my characters in the third person. I hope you understand that, because it's like a character that I play. It's not actually me. So that's the way it works. All right, so let's talk a little bit about some cool news that's happened this week. And like I say, if you want to send us some support, you can do so. Patreon, Bitcoin, or Ko-fi. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, because subscribing is important. And one of the things that we've been doing at the channel is, obviously, because we have changed from doing one video every day or 2 videos every day as it was, we are now doing one video every other day, or equivalent of 5 videos a week. That's what we want to try and do. We did 3 or 4 last week, and we're going to do probably 3 or 4 this week. 3 or 4 this week. And one of the challenges for that is that YouTube's gone, well, you're not making content anymore. We're going to penalize you. Interestingly, our click-through rate is up, and also our revenue is down, but our click-through rate is up and our view count is up, which means that more people are watching the videos. We're making fewer videos, more people are watching. And I was listening to something on NPR yesterday, driving home from doing some shopping, and it was really interesting because they were talking about the kind of the paradox of having too much choice. If you give too much choice to people, they are less likely to do the thing. If you give them a few choices, they'll buy the product, they'll watch the video, they'll eat the meal. But if you give them too many choices, they're just overwhelmed with choices. And I think that's what we did. So, that is really cool. All right, I'm getting popcorn, says Ted. Send me some as well. Cheers. So someone was asking about the computer. What is the click-through rate? Oh, what a great question. So click-through rate, you're learning all the mumbo jumbo here. A click-through rate is when your video is suggested to someone. So when you log into YouTube and you watch video on YouTube, you'll get a whole load of different videos to watch. If you don't log in, it just displays generic videos. But if you log in, it goes, oh, you watched a video on electric cars. So here are some videos on electric cars we think you're going to want. That video click-through rate is literally how many people click on the thumbnail and watch the video. And a lot of YouTubers, like 2 or 3% is pretty good. We are at like 6 or 7% now, and it's gone up. because we're making fewer videos. So I think that's really good. Happy birthday from a fellow 79 baby. 79 was a good year. Yeah, it was. The money really has ways of working out. Don't burn yourself out on the amount of videos per week. Yeah, no, I think we learned that because I was very unhappy. Transport Evolved was very close to ending. I have been incredibly unhappy with the electric vehicle world. And I've been incredibly unhappy being a YouTuber for the last 2 years. And really, the last 3 weeks have really kind of re-engaged my enthusiasm for and wanting to do things. And, so there you go. Happy birthday, The Stock Explorer. Is it your birthday as well? We're birthday twins. Happy birthday. Woohoo. Yeah, there's plenty of people I know who are celebrating today. It's cool. It's a cool day. I was supposed to be born on December 6th, but I was early. So I was an All Saints baby instead of a St. Nicholas Day baby. And now you know how I got my name. Whippersnappers, says Anonymous Freak. You don't look a day over 21, my dear. All right. So somebody asked a question about electric cars, which is generally what this channel is about. Will, do you think other EV makers are going to raise prices like Tesla? It's getting crazy. So this is a really interesting thing. So, well, I know it's frustrating to watch Tesla raise prices all the time. And as a consumer, I totally get it. I think what's happening at Tesla is that Tesla is trying really hard to operate really leanly in terms of making sure that the material costs, it doesn't put a huge amount of money on top. At least that's how Tesla tells it. Elon Musk has said the price rises are because the cost of buying stuff that we need for our vehicles, the raw material costs are going up, so we have to put the MSRP up. And it's a really difficult thing because sometimes you are looking at a car company that is changing its prices so frequently. You could order a car and then it could be significantly more expensive down the line when it actually comes to paying for it. And that's upsetting a lot of people. But because we have a situation, I think, where Tesla is changing prices so frequently that it is struggling to now argue, well, other car dealers have price gouging. We don't, because every time you go and look at buying one, the price goes up. And I have looked at buying a Tesla several times in the last couple of months. I think that other companies are probably also going to put their prices up because raw materials are becoming more and more scarce. COVID plus the shipping crisis plus all of these other things is leading to problems in our supply chains today. And, someone is always going to try and make money out of a situation. I think if you want to have a good price on an EV, you need to tie in your price, and that means confirming your order. Tess said, I thought all car companies are raising their prices. They are, but I think they're raising them in slightly different ways. Most car companies set their prices a year at a time. So they'll push their prices up every year. And I wish that Tesla would do the same thing, maybe every 6 months. If Tesla went, okay, this is our price for the next 6 months. We're gonna lock that price in. We don't price gouge. Everybody knows that. We're going to lock our price in. And then in 6 months, if we need to change our price, we'll do that. Tesla just had a really good gross automotive margin. I was like 30.5%, if memory serves me correctly. And that is a big gross automotive margin. That's good. That's healthy. And so now it's got the margins it's got I think it should slow down the frequency of its price increases. Does that make sense? So if Tesla was making like a 3% gross automotive margin, then price increases every time the cost of the stuff went up would make more sense. But now I feel that it feels hard to connect those two things together. I know that that's not actually how it works, but from a consumer point of view, if you go, well, this car company is making 30.5% gross automotive margin on every car it makes on average, then you can turn around and go, these price rises could happen every 6 months. Does that make sense? That's how I feel about it. I kind of went off a little bit there. Anonymous Freak says, my feeling is that other EV makers can't raise prices because a traditional dealer network would riot. The dealers would want to add huge markups on in-demand cars, not have Ford, Kia, and GM make the dollars. The other thing to bear in mind is that, the traditional automotive model is very different to how Tesla operates. And so, these big OEMs, they do operate at a slower pace. They're bigger organizations. They tend to have older or more old-fashioned policies and practices. Tesla is very much focused on an agile development, agile refinement, so it can respond a little bit more quickly. It's going to be a challenge as it gets bigger, because as a company gets bigger, its ability to react and respond diminishes. It can't do it as quickly. Have I seen the Aura Cat? Yes, I love the Aura Good Cat, and I know at least one person on our team wants one. Winter would love one. I don't expect it will come to the US because it's a Chinese EV and there's a lot of challenges there. US-Chinese trade relations are still pretty rubbish, and I don't see that happening. But yeah, I think it's a great looking car. I would love to drive one next time I'm in the UK. And I don't know when that's going to happen. I haven't gone back for 2.5 years now. It's driving me bonkers. Torbjorn even, sorry, I do apologize, says, happy birthday from a Swedish follower that also celebrates his birthday today. Happy birthday. It's a good time of year. Someone said, am I named after Santa? Well, St. Nicholas, yeah, I guess. So yes. Thank you, Robert. Happy birthday. I thought Tesla was using the prices to adjust for demand, or seen from the other direction, charging what market would bear. Your explanation might make more sense. Yeah, it's what I think is happening. So there we go. Torbjorn says, prices are too high, less parts, quicker production, and more efficient logistic, but ordinary people can't afford EV cars. And you're totally right, Torbjorn. We have a problem in the EV world, which is we're so focused on beating everybody else in terms of range, charging speed, and performance, that we've forgotten one of the key metrics for any vehicle, which is price, affordability, and lifespan. And I think we've kind of dropped the ball a lot there. Sorry, I've got hair that's itching my nose and it's driving me up the wall. I need to have my hair cut. It's getting a bit long, look. And I have really bad hair. I hate my hair because it's all wispy and horrible. So Adrian says, happy birthday. Now, while 79 was a okay year, 74 was simply fabulous. Also, I'm curious, would a Model Y standard range plus LFP plus minus rear-wheel drive, 40k-ish, at 250 miles work for, as you're seeing how LFP can be fully charged? I think it probably would. I still want to see a better supply chain for repairs and parts. And I still worry that in areas where Tesla is popular, I'm still hearing tales of people taking a long time to get their cars repaired. Now, I know this sounds crazy because I'm waiting for a recall on a car that I'm probably not going to get recalled for a while. But yeah, it might. So I've always seen the economy as a balloon, and as you pump air into it, inflation, the higher the price. But we have to have a little deflation every now and then to prevent an explosion, right? Yeah, you're totally right, Poetry Ninja. Winter. Thought the punk cat is even cooler looking, but who wouldn't want a car whose logo is a cat's butt? I don't know if that's the origin of it, but it definitely does. I mean, I've not spent a whole lot of time looking at a cat's butt, but yeah, I can see the similarity there. William says a very happy birthday. Thank you. And QA Library says, Nikki, in the UK, it has been reported EU and China and USA have just dropped all trade tariffs. I hope so. I've been listening to kind of other stuff this morning. I was listening to the oral arguments in the Supreme Court case, the two cases. I can't remember the first one. Whole Woman's Health versus somebody. And then the United States versus Texas. And it was a really interesting oral arguments in that case. And I think, based on what I was listening to, I think that the Supreme Court are going to rule against Texas in this case because of it opening the door to a whole load of other similar laws that would ultimately cause dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. So I think that's probably what's going to happen there. So that's what I was looking today. Me holds my cat up to my camera, then realizes he isn't in a two-way video call. That's anonymous Rick. I love that. Is LG paying for the whole Bolt recall? It was paying for the majority of it, like 1.9 or 2 billion. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. But, there is something that I got really excited about today. And that's the fact that Tesla has just opened up 10 not 10 brand new, but 10 new supercharger sites for non-Tesla drivers in the Netherlands. So there are 10 supercharger sites in the Netherlands where you can now go with a non-Tesla and charge up, use a supercharger. And this is made possible. And I feel like I have to reiterate this because sometimes we forget that not everybody has experience of different markets. So in the United States, superchargers use a proprietary Tesla connector. It's a Tesla connector that is just, nice and small, and it's got everything in it, and you plug it in, but you can't use it with any other car. In Europe, Tesla uses the standard CCS Combo 2 plug, which means that all of its charging stations have the same socket on them, or the same plug on them, as other rapid charging stations. And that does two things. It sometimes means if you're in the middle of nowhere and there's only a non-Tesla supercharger, or a non-Tesla charger even, there's no superchargers in the area, you'll see a Tesla charging up at a regular charging station, which you don't see much of in the United States. But the other thing means that when there is a Tesla supercharger, it's pin compatible and it's electronically compatible apparently as well. You can now go to these 10 supercharger sites in the Netherlands and charge your non-Tesla. So that could be, you could do the Volkswagen ID3, ID4. You could do the Mercedes EQS. You could do any of the Audi e-trons. You could do, the list is a long one. You could keep going. I'm not going to list them all, but you could turn up at a supercharger and plug your non-Tesla EV in, and then you'll be able to charge. Now, Tesla says in order to do that, you have to download the Tesla app on your phone. You have to sign up. You have to be a resident of the Netherlands. So you can't do it if you're somebody from Germany or someone from France or someone from Sweden. You can't kind of duck into the Netherlands and use a Tesla supercharger. You have to live in the Netherlands to be able to make use of it. Thank you very much, Hans, for telling me that. And Callum says BMW i3 also on that list. So does Tesla charge a lot, says Will, to allow extra to supercharge a different brand EV? I don't know if the pricing has been published yet, but I'm looking now at the announcement. It is going to cost you more. So you are going to pay more to charge a non-Tesla at a Tesla supercharger site, but it's a good start. And I know that there are lots of people. Thank you very much, Robert. You are an absolute gent. Thank you very much. I know that there are some people who are worried that means that Tesla owners are going to have to wait and they're going to have to wait behind a really slow charging car to use a supercharger. I hope that Tesla comes up with a way around that. Tesla is going to charge more to non-Tesla owners. Hans says it is 57 to 62 cents per kilowatt hour. If you have a subscription, it's 33 cents less. So you can take out a subscription through the Tesla app. And it kind of works the same way. You turn up at the Tesla supercharger. You have to use the app to activate the charging session. So it's not like it is with your Tesla where you literally just plug in and off it goes. You do have to pay for it. So, it is unfortunate that you have to pay more. But it's totally understandable, and I don't have a problem with Tesla charging more for these transactions, because when you buy a Tesla, you are buying and supporting the supercharger network. That's part of the reason the car is the price it is. You're funding the supercharger expansion, and Tesla said, it's going to expand 3x in the next 2 years, so 3 times as big in the next 2 years. That's monumental. That is huge. And having spent some time this weekend, I'm going to talk about charging, if that's okay. The charging networks and the experience are starting to break down. And this weekend, I learned why Ford has its own charging network. Now, people have been super critical of Ford because Ford is calling its own charging network the largest charging network in North America. It's technically not a charging network. It's essentially a multi-network roaming agreement in which Ford takes, I don't know if Ford takes a cut, but Ford certainly handles the transactions. So what's happened is Ford has gone to all the charging networks that are compatible with its Mustang Mach-E and its upcoming F-150 Lightning, and has gone, okay, to all of these charging networks, we are going to have this number of customers joining the network. We have plug and charge. We want our customers to be able to turn up at your station, plug in, charge, and drive off, and not have to worry about RFID cards or other things. Essentially, Ford wants its customers to have as close an experience to Tesla as possible. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's as close as it can get to a Tesla experience without being a Tesla. And what Ford wants is to everybody to be able to turn up at any charging station that it's got a roaming agreement with, plug in, charge, and not worry about it. And that has garnered a lot of criticism from people because they say, well, Ford doesn't have a charging network. It just has a roaming agreement. And there is some gray areas, some questions as to whether you're actually paying more through Ford's system or whether you can get like a subscription or anything like that. It's starting to sound like cell phone roaming. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Joey. Happy birthday. Lots of more birthday wishes coming through, Danielle. Thank you very much, Danielle. So what's happening is we have a roaming agreement Ford has a roaming agreement, and we are seeing GM doing the same thing and all the other companies are doing the same thing. They want to have roaming agreements between their customers and the charging providers. I assume the charging providers are giving discounts to the car makers. I don't know if the car makers are skimming off anything or not. I would not want to say without knowing. I suspect they might. I don't know that they are, but I suspect they might, because the UI and the integration that Ford has put in and that GM has put in, that comes at a cost. So they have to build that integration, and then they have to integrate with the back end of the charging providers, and that costs money. And I suspect somewhere along the line, some money is being skimmed off to help fund that. Right. But charging networks, standing alone, are becoming very protectionist. I'm going to tell you a little story now. I know I went around the long way to get to this. I went, so last week we had 2 weeks ago, we had a dishwasher flood. Brand new Samsung dishwasher. I say brand new, it was about a year old. Went wrong. It started leaking. We thought it was leaking from the door. We thought if we replaced the door, it was just out of warranty. We thought if we replaced the door, that maybe the door seal, it would fix it, but it didn't. So this weekend we had to take the dishwasher to the recycling center. We decided to get a new one. We'd got some savings we put aside for a rainy day, and it was a rainy day and we needed a new dishwasher. So we went and did that. Thank you very much, Test. Happy birthday. And thank you, Bean Apprentice. That's a cool name, Bean Apprentice. I like that. So we went and we had an errand to run. For those who don't know, I own a Chevrolet Bolt. My wife owns a Chevrolet Bolt. My Bolt has a tow hitch on it. So we put on our 8x4 trailer. We put the old dishwasher on it. We drove it down to the recycling center. We took some other stuff with us. We got a couple of doors because this is a handmade door right here. My wife made this door from scratch, bare wood. It's a solid door. She made it. One of our teenagers kind of kicked some doors in. So we had a couple of doors we had to get rid of before they left, obviously, not after they'd left. That would be hard. So we went down to the recycling center, and then we had to go to pick up a new lathe that my wife had managed to find on a kind of used marketplace that she wanted because she likes woodworking. That's why she made the door. And so we drove off and picked that up, and then we came back home. And by the time we'd driven with this big lathe on the trailer on the back of the car on the I-5, we kind of run the battery pretty low. So we plugged in when we got home and unloaded the lathe. And then we had to go and get the flu jab. And then we had to go and hopefully pick up a new dishwasher that we'd purchased the night before. Only later to find that the store that had sold it to us, who thought they had one in stock, didn't. And we had to go kind of traipsing around town to get one. But there is a point to this story. So we've got a trailer on the back of our car. We're in Hillsborough, which is on the west side of Portland. And we have, we're about 20 miles from where we were. We needed to charge before we could pick up the dishwasher and head home. So I knew that there was a rapid charging station in Hillsborough, on the south side of Hillsborough. The Electric Avenue Hillsborough is what it's called. And I knew it was there. I just couldn't remember quite where it was. And we were low on charge. So I'm like, okay, let's figure out where we're going. And so I fired up PlugShare, which for years has been the go-to for a lot of people for the next charging, for where they can find their next charging station. Now, PlugShare was recently acquired. It was originally standalone. Then it was acquired by Ricargo. And then recently it was also acquired by EVgo. So it's had kind of a change of ownership. And now as part of EVgo, it's now owned by a charging network, right? So it's a charging state. It's supposed to be a tool. Originally, it was conceived as a tool to help people find charging stations. That was ultimately acquired by a charging station provider. So you can guess what happened. A lot of the charging stations that used to be listed on that app are no longer listed because they're not from the company who owns it. And none of the Electrify America chargers are listed on it. Or at least some of them don't appear to be. And none of the green lots ones were showing up. And the charging station that I wanted to go to, the one I knew was kind of on the way to where I was going, was a green lot station. It wasn't showing up. So I then opened up another couple of apps and looked. There were only two apps that actually showed it. The first one was a better route plan, and the second one was the ChargeWay app. All the other apps didn't show this station. Now, there are politics presumably going on in the background, but for an EV owner, that is an abhorrent thing to happen, and it is terrible to think about. Now, I'm pretty sure that the Ford charging network would have included that charging station, and maybe someone who has a Ford EV can check for me and tell me whether that is the case. I'll check it when we've next got one on loan. Because we're hoping to get a GT to do road tests with. I know I've already driven the Mustang Mach-E GT, but we're going to try and get a week-long loaner so we can put it through its paces a little bit more in real world than we did when I flew out to Central California and did it. And so the challenge that we have right now is that if you are a seasoned EV driver like me or many of you guys who are watching, you know how to find a charging station, right? And if you know that if there is a big rapid charging station that you know is somewhere in the vicinity, you know it's not just going to vanish overnight. I've seen it happen a couple of times before with PlugShare, to the point that I can no longer recommend that app. A Better Route Planner and ChargeWay are the two that are the two apps that I now can trust, and that frustrates me, because for those first-time EV people who watch this channel, and lots of people watch this channel and reach out and say, "Hey, I love what the team are doing. Because of what you guys did, because of that video you did on this car or that car, or because of your video on used EVs or battery replacements or whatever, I went out and I found a used car and I love it. And it cost me, $6, $7, $8, $9, £10,000, dollars, whatever. And I'm now driving an EV. And I thought that I couldn't. I thought that you had to buy a Tesla. I thought that you had to have $40,000 to spend before you could get an EV. Those people mean so much to us at the channel, because it's about democratizing electric vehicle transportation. But if someone is a first-time EV buyer, there is a great EV sales place here in Oregon, in Portland. A couple, actually. You can go to them. You can buy an affordable, everyday, daily driver that'll get you to and from work, has rapid charging, and is 5 to 10 years old. And then at the weekend, if you need that long distance trip, maybe you do need a rapid charging station. But the problem is that these charging station maps have become so splintered and so, I have no nice way of putting it, effed up. As Station 240 says, corporate takeover nonsense causes so many issues. It is, a pain in the butt. Happy birthday, Nikki, says Jim Gassor. Is there an earthquake going on, or is there a dog wagging its tail against the camera? You mean this? So let me explain. So we now have a standing desk. I now have a standing desk. And standing desks are not quite as robust. So maybe I need to fix that. If I sit down, maybe I won't. I've got my chair stuck now. There you go. Maybe if I pull this chair up and I sit down for a bit. Is that better? I'm sorry. All right. So would love a video on how to use the Chevrolet Bolt EV telematics. I have been trying forever, says Robert. Yeah, so we had thought about doing that. See if I can do this without showing too much of my home system. So for those who know, I like home automation. Let me see if I can do this carefully. Share screen. Okay. Let me see if I can do this. Yes, I can. Okay. It's give me permission. It might not let me do it because there's a new operating system. Let's find out. No, it won't let me do it. I can't show you because I cannot do a screen recording because I haven't set it up. But I can show you on here, maybe. So we have Apple's HomeKit, and one of the things that I wanted to do was to be able to turn on my climate in my car. So that button I just clicked there was my car, and I'm turning on my climate control because it's a rainy day outside. So Nikki's car, there you go. I was able to turn on my climate control as part of HomeKit. So I can see your screen reflected in the screen behind you. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I was standing up, actually, because I didn't want to do that. Let me move the desk down. I was wondering if that's what you had purchased. It was giving me motion sickness. I'm sorry, Jim. We are. This is actually a free standing desk, so you may have missed the beginning of the show. So let's talk about this again, just so people know. As you may or may not know, my wife, Kate, and I both work from home right now because of COVID. My wife used to work behind me. That used to be her desk. And then our teenage daughter left home. She wanted to go and live on her own. She turned 18, so she decided to move out. And so we took over her bedroom. And so my wife has her own office now that she's painted. She's done a really stunning job. It's really pretty. It's not like this space. She has done a really good job. And so she moved in a couple of weeks back, and we were able to get this standing desk and the monitors behind as part of her office where she used to work, changing its location. And there was a whole lot of stuff that wasn't going to go to the new location. They needed to dispose of it. And so they let people basically recycle. And so we've been able to recycle 2 Apple monitors and a desk and the chair that I'm in right now. And so that means that those desks behind us, that monitor and everything behind me is going to become a video editing station for the guy that we really, really want to hire. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have enough money to hire him. Running a business is very, very, very stressful because there's a whole load of things that I didn't realize would happen, and I was maybe naive about it. And I've ran businesses before, but Transport Evolved is the first business that I have run that has employed others, and that's a completely different setup to what it previously was. And I think we are in a very interesting situation right now, because I have to kind of make sure that there are people who are supported and they earn a decent salary for the work they do. And there are some team members that I would like to give pay rises to. And there are people, we make sure everybody, has the option to have healthcare if they want it and all of that. So we try and run our business right. And so we've got someone we want to hire. We are very close to being able to affording them. I just need to make sure that we are able to keep them in the position. And so we've been able to get that desk and those monitors pretty much for free. My old laptop is just enough for video editing with an external GPU, which we had, because when I used to work in the studio, I had I suppose it was a guerrilla working station in this office that enabled me to, if I needed to be home for something, I could still do some basic video editing at the house. But of course, the machine I'm using right now is a really nice editing machine. So we can always switch around if need be, and I can make that my desk and we can give this one to the video editor or whatever. So that is our goal moving forwards. Thank goodness for Zap Map, at least here in the UK, says Adam Purcell from the UK. Doesn't Google Maps show charging stations? Yes, it does, but not very good. Not very well. Not always. Free monitors and such. Yeah, well, they're older machines. So, I can see my whole reflection on the screen behind me. Yeah, I know. Damn you, green energy, you're just so addictive. Ivan says, happy birthday, Nikki, from a fellow Brit. Had our EV for a year now and love it. Now looking into PVM batteries. Damn you, green energy, you're just so addictive. Yeah, I know, I feel the same way. One of the things that we are working on, I want to work on, we use juice boxes at the house, no endorsement. They're just the charging stations we have. We have 3 juice boxes. We generally only use 2 of them. And I'm trying to use Home Assistant, which is probably what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. I'm going to use Home Assistant to try and figure out how to use, so that when my solar system is generating electricity, when it's generating over a certain amount, I can turn the car charging on. That's one of the goals. And a Home Assistant, if you don't know what it is a home automation kind of open source home automation that is really good. I have a couple of things that I've already programmed. So, for example, if we're watching TV downstairs, we turn the TV on. It automatically dims the lights in the family room so that, you know, the TV, you can see the TV clearly. So I'm just trying to find the devices so I can show you, because I'm still learning this. So please bear with me. So apparently right now we are generating 286 watts of power. So we've got my security camera on the front of the house. So you can see that both of our cars are doing well. It is checking it down outside right now. So our 15.01 kilowatt peak array is generating 286 watts. So Anonymous Freak, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with Home Assistant. It's good. It's a good little thing, and I'm going to be playing with that. The other thing I need to do today, and I'm not going to be working after this, is I need to rebuild my chicken pie. And no, that's not food. So we have a little Raspberry Pi in the chicken coop, and we have a camera in the chicken coop and a camera outside the chicken coop. And what the chicken pie does is it allows us to check on the chickens at nighttime to make sure they're okay, keep an eye out for predators and other things. And I wanted to do machine learning so that I could figure out who was going into the nest boxes and laying eggs, and who was just going into the nest boxes who shouldn't. We've got some youngsters who really aren't yet laying eggs, and sometimes they just go in there to sleep. And that's not a good thing. So we've got to try and figure out who's doing it and who isn't. So yeah, that's what we're up to. That's what we are doing. I just want to thank everybody here for supporting the channel and for enjoying kind of a very fun, very casual chat with me about EVs today. We'll check out Home Assistant. Thanks. What a chick cam. Yeah, we call it the chicken pie, but I guess we call it the flock cam. It was a project that we did. We were able to I 3D printed a case out of a PLA, I think. Was it PLA or was it ABS? I cannot remember. The one that's biodegradable, and my brain is not quite there. I 3D printed something. It's a special case for my Raspberry Pi, and it had an external USB and external network port because the Raspberry Pi sat inside and didn't have any access to the outside world. My Raspberry Pi in the chicken shed has a little tiny SSD in it because it lasts longer. It was PLA. Thank you, Kate. Thank you. Fundraising idea. Chick cams on OnlyFans. Yeah. I still can't believe how much more relaxed you look after giving up the daily crazies. Yeah, I'm feeling better. I really am. So thank you, Test. You're awesome. So I made a little 3D printed enclosure, and that's something else I want to bring back in here as a 3D printer. It's currently in the server room, and the server room needs to be cleaned, and then the studio needs to be cleaned. Basically, the entire house has been a bomb site because I just was so focused on churning out content because I was so worried about making sure that we made content. So we had a 3D printed case. It had a little slot in the top for the Raspberry Pi camera. I had a little IR module on top of the Raspberry Pi camera, which means that I was able to kind of do night vision. I had a nice wide angle lens on that. I also used a PPOE connection to the chicken coop. So that was a fun day. So we ran a Cat 6. We ran 2 Cat 6 cables to the chicken coop. I did it, went up into the attic from the server room, all the way through the house, out on the side of the house where the Starlink and all the other internet connection comes in. Ran the cables down the outside of the house, down in some PVC piping that was already there from the downstairs flood wiring, because that's the way the downstairs wiring goes. And then out, it was bury safe cable. We bury safe cable all the way to the chicken coop, and then we have power over Ethernet, PoE. So that was cool. Thank you, Sherelle. I hope that you are well, and I hope that your sister is well, and I hope that you are enjoying your plugin. So yeah, PLA was what we did. I'm waiting for my Kickstarter Bird Buddy bird feeder with built-in Wi-Fi camera with app that has AI bird identification. Should be shipping in January, February. Yeah, it was interesting. Continue to have a great birthday. Thank you. Go see channel news at 7 p.m. here now. Need to see what happens at COP26 today. All the best to you and yours. Yeah, everybody in the UK is an hour closer to us than we were last week. You might not know this. Again, you might not know this. Clocks change at different times in different countries. So in the UK, and I think in most of Europe, the clocks went back on Sunday. So they went back yesterday. Over here in America, and in Canada, and I believe in the rest of North America, the clocks go back on this coming Sunday, I believe. So for me to still have my birthday in summertime was a real head screw when I first moved over here. Really bizarre. I had a trick-or-treater come up in an inflatable chicken suit. When he came up to the porch, he hesitated to come up to the point. I looked at him and I said, "Come on up here. What are you, chicken?" That's funny. The chickens need great connectivity. They do. And also, Sherelle says, I filled up my Chrysler Pacifica hybrid yesterday for the first time in 2 months. Sherelle, you are an absolute star. You really are. And I am so glad that you were able to find a vehicle that worked for you, and for your sister. I'm really, really proud that worked for you. I'm very happy. Our clocks changed early last month, says Tezzy. Yeah, see? Weird. Different clocks changing at different times. Yeah, most clocks don't change. It's mostly the Western world that does that. Yes. Part of me wishes we didn't do it anymore. And of course, Arizona doesn't change its clocks. So in the summertime, Arizona is on West Coast time. And in the winter, Arizona is on Mountain time. Which is weird. Did I get a new towel for my birthday? No, but we desperately need some new towels. And it would fit in rather nicely with me being the answer to life, the universe, and everything. So we should make that happen. I'm just saying. I do like myself a nice towel. I think that would be fun. Can't stay in a meeting, but happy birthday. Thank you very much. Very much, David. Oh, and apparently I forgot about this. Except in the Navajo Nation, they do go back. They do go on DST. So that makes sense that the Navajo Nation does change their clocks, but the rest of Arizona doesn't. Did I drive the Hummer EV yet? No, I have not. I am waiting for a call from GM. Hawaii doesn't change times either. That's something I didn't know. That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, the closer you are to kind of the Arctic Circle, the more likely I think you are to change it. So there we go. All right. So I am going to say goodbye to everybody. It has been a wonderful, wonderful time talking to you all. I am very, very touched by all the wonderful birthday gifts, donations, and all that. If you want to support us so that we can continue to make great content, like the really, really good Volkswagen ID4 video we did, the Volvo XC90 video. I know a lot of you haven't watched that video, the Volvo XC90 video, but if you want to see, let me find the video and then I can share it with you. If you want to see the type of video that we want to make from now on, that video is what we want to make, that kind of quality of video, then help us hire this guy because we haven't officially hired him yet. We're very close to hiring him. Thank you very much, Robert. And thank you, JP Fagerback. I just love knowing what your name now means. It is brilliant. Happy birthday, love your show, the energy, the intelligence, and the objectivity. I try. Just behind the chicken soup kid was an astronaut. I said, wow, that costume is out of this world. Jason, you are making jokes that Chimichanga the Fox would absolutely love. Yeah. That's his kind of, yeah. It's his kind of his voice. And he just goes, hey, how's it going? Yeah. He's just, he has just that kind of dad joke thing. It's great. I love him. He was my first character. And Queenie is kind of is kind of sort of me, but not really. Happy birthday to you, young chicken, says Brian. Thank you very much, Brian. You are the best. Happy birthday again, says Kent. Thank you very much, Kent. You are so awesome. Thank you very much, everybody. And go. Wait, when did the California surfer dude join the stream? All right, so the story, this guy has a backstory. I keep going to say goodbye, and then you keep asking me questions, and then I keep answering them. So my characters are very strange. So in the furry fandom, it's kind of normal for your if you have a fursuit, not very many people do. Very often it's your persona, the character that you feel kind of represents you. And I don't want to speak for other people, but this character, his name is Chimichanga the Fox. He has a brother called Guacamole. He also has a brother called Taco. And they were a trio of characters that were made, what we call a pre-made. They were made by an artist before they were sold. And he had he had a backstory that I created for him, and his creation of his backstory, thank you very much, Ronnie, was that he was a fox who was who got in with the wrong crowd when he was a kid. You know, he got into the wrong crowd, he got into trouble, he ended up going to jail for something that he didn't do. And while he was there, he kind of reformed himself and he came out. He learned that he had a daughter and he came out and he was going to be the best darned father he could be. And so he's very wholesome. He's kind of a reformed character. He likes his homebrew. He likes cars. And he tells dad jokes, which is the thing, as opposed to that cabbage that you can just sort of see just there, Queenie Octavia Christina Dearheart. She is a time-traveling immortal red merle border collie. And her backstory is very, very complicated, and I'm not going to go into it right now. But she is my fun. She allows me to let my hair down and just be a basically Hyacinth Bouquet. Yeah. What does the fox say? Yeah. That is literally what he says. That is his catchphrase. There is a fun. So he has a body double. There are two other performers that I know, good friends of mine, who have learned his mannerisms and learned how to be that character. And when you're training somebody else to be your character, you go, okay, these are the things that he does. So one of the things he does is he goes, hey, and his head tips up, and he's just like a very much confident walker. And so I have trained other people to be that character, and I have gone to a convention before where I've made multiple people be that character in quick succession. He also has there's an older version of him, so I actually have two versions of him. And in the past, I've actually put both versions out and confused people. And then they've had I'm the real Chimmy. No, I'm the real Chimmy in character. And it's hilarious. At least it is to me. Anyway, thank you very much to everybody for taking part. Don't forget to check out that Volvo XC90 video. That is the kind of content we want to start making, but we can only do that if you help. and go over to patreon.com/transport evolved. $1 a month. If everybody watching right now went and gave $1 a month, we would be able to hire this person. Actually $10 a month. Sorry, they went to $10 a month. We would be able to hire this person. We are very, very close to reaching that. If you want to donate more, if you're able, we're not going to say no. Thank you so much to everybody for joining. Thank you to the amazing people on my right for being our $15 to $49 a month patrons. Thanks to our $50 a month patrons. That's Joseph Broucher, David Janakula, Andrew Martin, Guido Drahota, Brophy Wolf, Michael Goad, Tazza and the Gong, Sean Ueda, Gordon C, Regine Fellows, Anonymous Freak, Jim Burness, Carl Hodgson, Anthony Coates, Ricky Leon, Brian Newton, Laura Sanborn, Roy Litwin and Denny Hyde. Cheers with my non-alcoholic grape juice. Oh, that's really nice. It's like a rosé. And our deepest gratitude to our $100 a month Patreon supporters, some of which are in the stream. John Lyons, Marcel Ward, Reggie Watts, Joe Brenzy, Chrissa, Ken Tavar, JP Fagerback, Will Graylin, Matthew Drobnick, Christopher Lee Jones, Paul Conway, Ellery Hannesley, and Ian. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day. I'm going to drink the rest of my fizzy grape juice. And I think we are going to make t-shirts with and Ian. It is just brilliant. I'm really proud of how this channel has grown. I'm really grateful that I've been able to celebrate my birthday with you guys. And I wish that I had known 20 years ago what I know now. But part of growing old, part of going through life is that you learn that things sometimes take a while to figure out. Thanks, everybody. And as always, keep evolving.